Okay. I'll just preface this again. If there are questions about Britt, I'm going to stay away from those questions. I appreciate that. So injury-wise, Harrison Butker has an ankle sprain, and we're just going to see. He's got a little swelling in there, so we'll just see how that goes day to day. And then McDuffie, Trent has a hamstring, and we're treating it. We're going to see where that goes, but he's going to struggle to make it. He'll struggle to make it to the game. Other than that, everybody is up and rolling. We look forward to playing the challenge of playing the Chargers. We know they're a heck of a football team, and we always have great battles against them. And so again, we love bringing them here to Arrowhead. We know it'll be loud and an exciting atmosphere. So we're preparing ourselves as we speak here to get ready for that Thursday night game. With that, time's yours.
Eddie, no practice today for either Butker or McDuffie?
Yeah, those two will not practice today.
As far as Harrison is concerned, how much of this is going to come down to how much pain he can tolerate in order for you to make that call if he'll kick Thursday night?
Yeah, I think if it was just a pain thing, I think he'd bear through that, but he's got some swelling in there. So I think it's a matter of him being functional enough to do it. I mean, he's a tough kid and that, so we'll just see how that works out.
Are you comfortable with a plan B as far as Justin Reid is concerned, if you have to go that way?
Yeah, no, we've got the plan B, and we're working on it.
Assuming you have to go with a backup kicker on Thursday, in your experience, how long before three of those guys get comfortable with one another? How long does that process take?
Yeah, well, we'll see if that's where we go with it. Yeah, so we're kind of in that process right now of looking at guys and just to make sure we have things covered. So we'll see where all that goes.
But if you have to use that guy Thursday night, how long?
Well, we went through this last year and it worked out pretty good on relatively short notice. So I think we'll be okay. And I'll probably speak on both sides of my mouth here, but because I've said before that I think that time that they have together is important, but we did have success with it last year. So we'll just see where all this goes.
Coach, you mentioned preparation. How much did you look ahead? I know it's one game at a time for you, but how much did you look ahead knowing that it would be a short week?
Well, we had that extra week, and so we were able to take a glance at them. I mean, not quite as intense as what you do when you're getting ready for this game here now. I mean, but we did, yeah. I mean, we had a pretty good idea to where we could put a game plan down and go, yeah.
And Coach, how far back does it go? I believe this is correct, that you spend specific time in OTAs on the AFC West teams. How far back does that go? And what do you get out of that when you do it then?
I started that when I was in Philadelphia, doing that during the OTAs. It kind of breaks it up and gives the guys something to look at. Plus, it's a good feeder for you. It makes coaches think. It makes the players think about who they're playing. So, but yeah, no, we did that this year too. So we utilized that, and then we utilized the week that we had this preseason bye week. I think we used that.
And the concept is sort of just deep study, or I mean, how would you frame what?
You don't have as many plays that you're putting in, but you're going to go in and you're going to study them like you're playing them. You're going to detail that up, and then you'll have a few select plays that you work with.
One of the new combinations for the Chargers is the Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack combination. I just wonder what jumped out to you in that first look, knowing that it's a short turnaround this time.
Yeah, no pun intended there. They do jump out at you. They're two good players. They're both healthy and moving fast. They did a nice job against the Raiders. We're aware of them. I mean, we know that they're good. We respect that. So we're working on a plan, to do the best we can against them. Right?
Yeah, how eager are you to see Orlando Brown in this particular sort of setting? You sort of mentioned in the offseason, he wants to be one of the best left tackles in the league. This
Sure.
is sort of the first game where he can sort of prove the progress he's made over the offseason.
Yeah, sure. No, it's a great challenge. He loves that, though. I mean, that's he's very energetic when it comes to challenges. He wants to, he wants to be the best, and so this gives him. These are the things, the merit badges that you get if you take care of business there. So, but that's a big challenge, for our tackles. But again, that's why we're in this busince.
Andy, the difference in Justin Herbert, as you've seen him progress, what have you seen in the film now that you see is a little differently from what you saw last season into this season?
Yeah, so every year he seems to get better. He's very smart. He understands where to go with the ball, so he's got real good grasp of the offense, and he's accurate. So he does a nice job, and that's not going to get any worse as he goes. He'll just keep polishing that, moving ahead. The experience is everything now. So.
Andy,
I'm going to go Matt, then work this while we're done.
EB mentioned yesterday how important it is that you guys want to be able to prove that you can run the football. How critical is that against the Chargers, a team that knows you pretty well and is probably going to give you different looks than Arizona did?
Yeah, so I think it's important that you move the football. Running is part of it, and then throwing is part of it. And I think a mix becomes big. But when you need to run the ball or want to run the ball, you should be able to do that. Yeah, that's the challenge. So when we dial them up, let's go. And there's a certain attitude that goes with that. And so that's what that's where the emphasis has been. And our guys, the linemen like doing it. So if you told lineman he had could pass block or run block, he didn't tell you run block. I mean, you know that, right? You're going to go run block. So, and they enjoy that.
In the context of Trent likely being out, seems like you guys might rely on Jalen as a 7th rounder. Just what have you seen confidence level wise from someone that was picked in the last round of the draft to be able to go in there and play significant snaps potentially?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. The pick doesn't matter now, right? So it's a matter of how he continues to up his game with the things that he's seeing there. So that's the important part, and focusing in on the game plan and being able to execute that absolutely the best he can. And there's a lot to do when you start getting ready for these things, especially on a Thursday night. You don't have the whole training camp to get ready for it, right?
Harvey.
Coach, just a follow-up on Patrick Mahomes' left wrist injury. I know it estimated full practice yesterday, but do you anticipate any issues with that at all, or is he a full go?
Yeah, no, he's full go, yeah.
Coach, general question about experience and coaching, especially in things like short weeks. Not asking you to talk about last night's game and maybe some inexperience with the coaching staff, but you guys and your staff have been together for a while, a lot of experience. How long did it take as a group till you felt comfortable as a head coach dealing with things like in the game and short weeks and all that? And is that an advantage? I know the players make plays, but is that an advantage for a staff to have kind of experience throughout the year, especially in situations like this?
Yeah, well, you guys see it because we do training camp up there, Missouri Western State University. So it's open, and you see how much we work on those things. We also do that in the walkthroughs in the afternoon practice. So you spend a tremendous amount of time on it, and you hope that your players grasp it and want to grasp that part. And then the coaches that are responsible for their certain spots are experts at it, right? And inevitably the head coach has to make the final decision. But that's how we do it. And I've got a ton of trust in my guys, the new ones and the old ones. They spend time in it, and then we expect them to be able to have answers at that time. But the players buy in them. We invite them to ask questions on it. If we're not covering it, stimulate us, with thoughts. So, and then we'll find that answer for you.
You've been doing this so long. How long did it take you to feel comfortable being a head coach, like through all that stuff? Are you comfortable yet? I don't know.
That's a bad question. That's a bad question, because right when you say you're comfortable with it, it slaps you. So you just keep working at it. There's always something in this crazy business, man, that pops up and you go, doggone, where did that one come from? So
Last two out of you, Sam.
Hey, Andy, hats off to another fast start. I mean, that's nothing new for him. It seems like he's always playing well this time of year. Something you can point to, or some things you can point to in his off season or his camp or whatever it might be that allows him to just pick up right where he left off?
yeah, I just tell you his preparation, the way he approached it. I mean, football is important. I think if you ask him, family and football are right at the top of the list there, and of things that he does. And so he's always going to put that, whether he's doing a commercial with something, he's going to put that in the front, and it's not going to disrupt what he's doing. So I think it's his approach to it. As you know, he's extremely smart. His recall is exceptional. Retention, goes along with that. But you tell him something once, he's got it, and he wants to be great. So.
You talk about him sort of making football a priority year round. How common or uncommon do you feel like that is in your experience?
I don't know. Listen, I've been spoiled. So I've had some quarterbacks that love football, and we had Alex Smith here before, and he loved it. And I go back to Philly. All the quarterbacks I had at Philly loved football. I had to kick them out of the building, And when I was at Green Bay, I had Brett Favre. So played with Jim McMahon and Mark Wilson. All these guys, they love football. And when I was in college, so they, I don't really know any other way that those guys operate. I haven't had one of those that didn't just jump in and go.
Last one, Sam.
A couple of quick ones. I wondered, Spags implied yesterday that McDuffie's injury is because of the turf. I wonder what the frustration level is with that.
The turf.
Arizona.
Yeah, well, they resodded it, that's a good thing because they practice in there. But it was a little bit loose. That's what happens, Sometimes when you resod it, it's loose. And I mean, listen, it was part of the Bucker injury and McDuffie injury. I mean, that's unfortunately that was part of it. Just the turf picked up and So I would tell you that did have something to do with it. If it didn't, I'd tell you that too. So it's not an excuse by any means, but you all can see it when you watch the tape.
And then Mahomes faced, or you guys faced a heavy percentage of blitzes on Sunday. I wonder if you inferred that that's maybe indicative of maybe seeing some different things this year, or is it just more of Vance Joseph's?
Well, I mentioned Vance. He's aggressive, and it's that's how he's been against us. He mixes and matches, and very, very hard to get settled with all that. I mean, you got to really stay on your toes. But he's been doing that a long time. I mean, that's his style. So, and all the guys kind of have their own deal. Maybe they don't do as much as what we saw at Arizona. Maybe they do. But that's to answer your question. That was Vance's. That's what he does. So we'll see.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
How you doing?
Hey, Patrick, what does it do for you guys to spend time on all the AFC West and OTAs? How does that help you, and does that give you a little leg up?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps for short weeks like this week that we spent some time on them in the off season, and that we kind of went over their defense and the rules of their defense and stuff like that. But you still have to jump into it. I mean, it's a short week, a few late nights, a lot of time up at the building. But you have to be prepared because they have a really good defense, and we have to go out there and execute if we want to find a way to win.
Patrick, were you all surprised by the number of blitzes you saw on Sunday?
Not necessarily. I mean, that's what they've done. I mean, Vance had success doing that against us when he was in Denver. And that's kind of their identity. So you kind of get to some games sometimes where it's, do they change their identity or do they believe they can go out there and play the way they play? And they went out there and played, and we were able to execute at a high enough level that we were able to go out there and score some points.
Why do you think that was the case? Obviously, that's not something you see that often. Though.
I think we just had a good game plan going into it. We had a good protection plan, and even when guys were free, I thought guys did a great job of recognizing and kind of getting themselves open quickly. And then the offensive line did a great job of protecting. I mean, there were some spots where you kind of could see guys like Orlando kind of bouncing back out and getting guys they necessarily weren't supposed to get, just because if they got the extra little hand on there, I was able to climb up in the pocket and make a throw.
Patrick, you talked about after the game in Phoenix the other day that the way you guys practice at camp helps you get off to a fast start every year. Are there things you can point to, specific things about training camp maybe or OTAs, whatever it might be, that allow you to kind of pick up where you left off right when the season starts?
I think first off is the amount of reps. I mean, we get a lot of reps in training camp. We go up against a really good defense with a good scheme and Coach Spags. And then Coach Reid puts us in a lot of game-like situations where he puts us in situations where we're having to run a 2-minute drill or we're having to drive down the field on a long drive drill and all these different situations that whenever you get to the game, you're not surprised by stuff. And I think that's why we've kind of started fast in these last couple of seasons. But we have to carry that momentum. I mean, we have a tough schedule, and so we're right on to the Chargers, who are a great football team.
Actually, what can you say what's going on with your wrist at this point? I mean, how's it progressed and as far as in the thumb?
Yeah, it got a little sore yesterday, but then today it felt a lot better. So we kind of got in the training room, got a little work on it. Haven't actually had any time today to even get any work on it, but it's already felt a lot better. So I'm sure I'll be good to go this week.
Do you feel like it's been pretty extensive what you had to do with it, or
not necessarily? I mean, just normal stuff. Just kind of take care of it. Kind of keep some stuff on it, but other than that, I mean, it feels great today. So hopefully it keeps getting better like this, and I'll be good to go on Thursday.
And with the Chargers, a different look now with Khalil Mack involved in there. Just what have you seen from their defense as you review film of the Chargers? And do you kind of take a little sense of pride in the fact that these teams are really just prepping really just for you and the way they've changed their personnel over offseason?
Yeah, I mean, not just me. We have great quarterbacks in this division in general. So you saw everybody in this division get pass rushers, and so they can go out there and get after the quarterback and make it hard on us. But Khalil's a great player. I mean, obviously they have Bosa already with a lot of other guys that go out there and can rush the passer, and then they have a good defense everywhere. I mean, they have Derwin at safety. I know JC. I don't know if he's playing or not, but he's a great corner, and they have other corners that can play as well, and linebackers. So I mean, this is a great defense, a great challenge for us early in the season. I'm just sad Khalil came back, man. I thought he was out of the AFC West, and now he's back getting sacks again.
Patrick, the broadcast caught you throwing up 4 after the 4th touchdown. Was eventually 5. What was, if you remember that moment, what was firing you up so much in that moment? And who were you kind of speaking with, if you can recall that in Arizona?
I mean, I don't even remember doing it. I kind of just went out there and threw a touchdown. I was pretty hyped up. But I saw it on the broadcast too. I don't know exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. With your experience, Patrick, you know what it takes to be successful on Thursday night games. I'm just wondering, because this one is so early in the year, how much do you weigh what you've done in the past that has led to success on Thursday night, and how much of it is a balance of getting extra sleep or maybe sacrificing sleep so that you are fully prepared? Yeah,
I think usually I sacrifice the sleep earlier in the week, and then as you get closer to the game, try to get back on your sleep schedule and getting your recovery back up there. And they're tough. I mean, they're always tough because your body's not necessarily all the way back to where you want it to be, but you have to find ways to battle through it. And early in the season is kind of good and bad because you kind of, like when you play a division game, we've studied the Chargers a lot in the offseason, so you still have that fresh on your mind. But it seems like in the hits that you take early in the season, you're a little bit more sore because you're not used to them again. So it's a kind of, there's positive and negatives to it, but you just try to go in there and play your best football when it comes down to it at the end of the day.
Jody's 6 targets for his career, 3 of them have been touchdowns. Just what makes him seemingly the perfect red zone target for you right now? Yeah,
I mean, we do a good job of scheming stuff to give him the one-on-one matchups. And he's such an athlete, and he can go out there and make those catches. And so whenever we get down in the red zone, he makes those catches and gets those touchdowns. And I think I said it someone yesterday or a day before where I was just like, we got to get him more involved in the field because he can make the plays happen in the field as well. And I think you saw that in training camp. And hopefully as the season goes on, we get him involved more in the field as well. And then he still keeps catching those touchdowns.
Patrick, you're obviously gelling with some of the new faces on this offense. How do you make sure during a short week where the focus is always going to be on the mental side of things that you guys don't miss a beat? You can keep on carrying that momentum from Sunday.
Yeah, it's finding that line of where we can go out there and put in new plays and that go against this defense and this scheme, but still run the plays that our guys know and that we can play fast. And so I think Coach Reid does a great job of that, of still putting in new plays and getting us ready to go, but not overwhelming us. And we have a lot of smart guys. I think that's the biggest thing, and it helps when you have those guys in the receiving room especially.
Now, the Chargers have come away with wins last season and the season before. Is there something that you need to do at Arrowhead? Is there something that you need to do or correct to make sure that these games don't get away from you?
Yeah, they came in last year and beat us, which I think is week 2 as well. So that's something you got to learn from and know that they're going to be ready to go. And I mean, they've won here, so they're not going to be scared to come in here and play. And so we have to come in with a better mindset of we have to go out there and play better from the start. And I think last year we got down 14-0 quick and had a battle back. And then the year before, I don't think I even played. So it was the one last year. I think it was big for us to know that they're going to come in with the mindset of kind of jumping on us early and trying to carry that momentum. So we have to match that with our momentum.
In that same line, you know that the Chargers are going to have a different scheme and plan than Arizona had against you. Are you kind of intrigued to see, how your offseason changes and adjustments are going to play against a defense like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, their defensive coaching staff is great. I mean, Coach Staley is the defensive coach, obviously, and has done a lot of great things, but I mean, all the way down through it. And so they'll have a good game plan. They do a good job of not only playing the same coverages, but kind of through their scheme eval, kind of being in the right spots. So it's about us kind of counteracting that and then going out there and executing. And so they're going to play, I mean, obviously probably more zone, not as much pressure. But they'll come out there and play man too. They got a lot of great players that they believe in, that they brought in, and I'm sure they'll give us our chances at man, and we have to win whenever we get our chance.
Patrick, you had a 35-yard throw to Kelsey off the play action. Kind of a tiny window, kind of a buzz. What did you see from that window? Yeah,
it was a play where it was designed where you kind of look at McCole and then reset to Kels, and he was running to the spot, and I've run that play a lot. We're throwing those balls to Kelsey, so I kind of just trusted him and threw it to the spot. And I think it was 47, the linebacker's head was turned, so I knew it was going to be tough for him to make that play. And luckily, he didn't turn around fast enough, and Kelsey made a great catch.
You talked before, Patrick, about receivers making adjustments with you post-snap.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder with Juju and MBS, how you felt it went for the first time operating, adjusting to what the defense was presenting you based on whatever the play call was.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. And especially against a defense like that where there's pressure. I mean, a lot of times those adjustments come when you have to get yourself open quickly. And I think you saw there was certain times where I got the ball in my hand fast and got it to those guys, and they were able to get the ball and get upfield. And so, I mean, they'll continue to get better and better. It'll be another great challenge for us this week. So I'm excited just to get out there and play again against a division opponent.
To that point, Judy had a couple of fumbles in the game. What was your message to him in game?
Yeah, I mean, those things happen. Obviously, we don't want him to, but he's playing hard. I think that's both times he fumbled, he was trying to get extra yards. So, I mean, all you can say is just try to keep it high and tight and keep 2 hands on when you get in traffic. But I loved how hard he was playing, trying to run through tackles, get those extra yards. And I think if he kind of keeps it high and tight, he'll start breaking some of those tackles when they're going in for those strips, and he'll get a few extra yards for us.
Do you make a point to say, all right, I'm coming back to you no matter what happens?
I think those guys know it. That's just kind of who I am. I mean, I'm going to give those guys chances. I believe in the guys that we have in this locker room. There's never going to be a time where I kind of turn away from somebody. If their number gets called, I'm going to give them a chance, and they'll go out there and make a play.
Last one, Sam.
The Kelsey play that you described earlier, is that something that's often in the film or just kind of move on to the next play?
Just move on to the next play. I mean, I was more upset that I missed McCole on both those touchdowns than anything. So I'll have to make sure I get back and hit those next time and not leave those on the board.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Got a couple of good pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
What are you preparing for? What are you seeing?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about just some of the ways you can stop the combination of Mac and Bosa.
Yeah, man, they're two very special talents. Both in their own way. Both have been doing it for a long time as well, and been very consistent while doing it. I think they both play with a ton of power. They have I don't want to say a lot of different moves, but they have a lot of successful moves and different styles in the way that they set up their moves. They're both really good pass rushers, man. We'll have our hands full this week.
I think someone brought up to Patrick that this whole division is kind of set up to go after the quarterback because of the good quarterbacks in there. So mindful of that in your job against all these teams that have beefed up defense, you just see that as just how do you look at that this year as you go through this division?
Yeah, no, it's the NFL. You know what I mean? We're all excited for the challenge. You know what I mean? I didn't sign up to do this to, necessarily go against guys that weren't elite at what they do. So, I look forward to the competition and being able to get out there and compete against that type of talent.
Do you do anything extra to get pumped up, knowing that you are going to be going against a guy like Khalil Mack or Bosa?
Yeah, regardless, man, you kind of have to study who you're playing and study their tendencies and all those different things. As far as extra, just with the short week, man, taking care of my body.
How do you handle short weeks?
Yeah.
I know we were talking in here about in the OTAs, you guys prepared. I know you weren't there.
Yeah.
But usually prepared for that in training camp. You get a little bit of background on the teams, but when you're turning around and you've just had aches and pains from the day before, how do you refresh for a big game like this?
Yeah, just I guess you could say as much rest as you can, while also getting as many mental reps as you can, studying film, the game plan, obviously the game within the game. My plan for attack against these guys, and for whatever Coach Reid and everyone has put in.
Orlando, you guys started week 1 on the road. Back at home for week 2. How excited are you to get in front of Arrowhead?
Oh man, very excited to get. It's always so much fun playing in the stadium, man. Kansas City loves their football, and they love their Chiefs, and it's always a great atmosphere on game day, man. Just how loud it is, the energy, the fans, man. It's special to be playing at home this week.
Okay, guys. Thanks, Orlando.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
First time getting to play at Arrowhead for real. Excited about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, preseason was awesome. Just seeing the fans. So excited to see, all the intensity everybody's talking about and how it's going to escalate from the preseason.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
Way big time.
I've heard.
George, how much did, they talk about speed changes each level. How much different did Sunday feel than even preseason
Yeah,
speed?
I mean, it was definitely fast. It was a lot faster, but we practice at a certain level that prepares you for that game speed. So I think as our coaches and my veterans and the guys around me in the D-line room did a great job in helping me prepare and be ready for that speed change because there's one. So.
George, you 4th and 2 play. Can you just go through that too? I mean, it was pretty crucial that you forced Murray to just get rid of it. What'd you see there?
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously very cautious of Kyler's ability to run the football, escape the pocket and scramble. So we definitely wanted to keep him contained. And after that, get our hands up and force him to make a bad or incomplete throw. So.
George, you face Kyler Murray. You talk about his scrambling ability, but you're going to face another guy that's able to scramble and throw.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert. What stands out to you on film? Yeah,
I mean, you play in the NFL, and it seems like almost everyone can run and throw and do it at a very high level. This guy's one of the best. That we're going to play. We have a lot of respect for him. On the defensive side, and he's gonna bring a lot of challenges. But we're going to be ready, I think. And just excited to go against a divisional rival. So,
George, Steve Spagnuolo told us yesterday that after the game, you went up to him and immediately identified 2 things that you thought you could have done better, and kind of like you said, hey, that's just George. He always wants to improve. What were those 2 things?
Oh, I'd rather not discuss this. It's specific stuff to our scheme, So, but yeah, I like to correct something. It's to me, it's big to not make the same mistake twice and always try to improve. And I think that's not just me, but I think that's all the rookie class and a lot of the younger guys too are trying to get to that level of the veterans. For me, it's like Frank and Chris, and Carlos too. Reach their level and eventually surpass them, God willing. So, it just goes back to not making the same mistake twice and just constantly striving to become a better player.
You watch the veterans on your team and they help you, Frank and Clark have done that. But are you going to peek at the 2 that San Diego had, Bosa and Mack, and how they do their job at pass rushing?
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 of the guys I watched a lot, in college and, even in like the off season, like I'll watch them just to see what they're doing, not schematically or anything like that, but just as pass rushers. Obviously, those guys are the very top of the profession, and they pass rush extremely well and at an extremely high level. So they're always great to study. So it'll be awesome just watching them live, and maybe I'll go up to them and introduce myself or something afterwards. So.
I know you said you can't give us, specific things that you want to change, but how do you grade your performance? What grade do you give yourself?
You watch a game tape and you want some plays back, but I think I was proud of myself for kind of getting out there and playing, and made a couple mistakes here and there, but not letting it affect me. Having a goldfish memory and just forgetting and moving on to the next snap. So I was proud of myself for that. Obviously, a lot to improve on, in terms of technique, in terms of just everything about the game. But, felt like I did some good, some bad, and just a lot to improve, nonetheless. Goldfish memory, yeah, they like forget instantly.
Couple more. Okay, well, end on that one.
Yes.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, thanks,
George.
George.
Thanks, George.
You ever heard that before?
I actually have, but it's obscure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, we're not coming out here though.
Yeah.
Or are we?
All right, good afternoon. Thanks for coming in, guys. We've done this, I think, 6 or 7 years now, so it's kind of an annual event. We wanted to keep the tradition going. And right before our first home game of the season, to be able to just tell you how excited we are to have our first home game of the season. GEHE Field is going to be special on Thursday night, and it's special every year, but this year especially with the first ever Amazon Prime game, something that I've mentioned we're really proud of, to be able to be the venue that was chosen by Amazon to host their very first event. And it's a tribute to our fans. It's a tribute to what they have created in this venue. So excited to get to this and excited to get started. Couple clarification points. Obviously, Amazon Prime, that's where you'll watch the game. If you're in Kansas City, our partners at Channel 41 KSHB will be hosting that game. So anybody can watch it over the air here in Kansas City.
Simulcast or after?
Simulcast, same time. Yeah. So with our first game, with it being a Thursday night, traffic's going to be traffic. We always put these photos up here so you guys can see it, and I always point at that one, which is the entrance to the stadium. That's a Thursday night. That is not game night. So that's an important point, right? So rush hour traffic on a Thursday, you're going to see that. So 2 big points there. One, for those of you not coming to the game, I would avoid the area. Hopefully make it a little easier for not only folks coming to the game, but also for you to get home. And those who are coming to the game, just be prepared. We're going to open the gates early, 2:30 parking gates, 4:30 club seats, and then 5 o'clock for the general admission. Lots of activities in the parking lot area for folks to tailgate and celebrate what makes Arrowhead so special. So I went through a long laundry list of things with you all prior to the kickoff luncheon, so I'm not going to waste your time on that again. I'll open up to questions, and I can follow up with whatever came up then. Okay?
Mark, what time do the parking lots open?
2:30.
2:30, so normal 5 hours?
Yeah, it's actually, we stretch the NFL rules a little bit there. The NFL actually doesn't want you to open that early, but given the tradition here, we've always opened a little bit beyond that time.
When, how's the success been for your crews trying to make sure people park in the parking places and stay out of the aisles? Because people who do arrive early, sometimes it can get a little sporadic in the lot. And then people end up not being able to negotiate themselves up to a spot.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I think our fans have done a better job of it over the years. I think everyone appreciates conforming with the rules makes it easier for everyone. And, you know, a lot of that is ease of entrance for our fans. A lot of it's safety related too. We need to have open aisles. So if we need to get an ambulance or something into a parking lot, in or out, we can do that. It's always a challenge first game. You know, there's always new folks coming in, haven't done it before. It's always like testing the limits of how far can we go. So our staff is working extra hard on the opening couple weeks to just remind everybody, here's why we do it and here's how it works. It's gotten better every year. We track, as you guys know, we track everything. We look at metrics that you wouldn't believe the detail. And one of the details we look at is from what time are we done at the parking gates, right? So people are going to line up here first thing in the morning, even though it's a night game. We look at when are they empty or when are people free flowing through them? And it's typically a half hour before the game. So they're in, right? Now, how quickly we get them into spots. And one of the things that does happen is as more and more people come and park, there are spots that are not used, and we got to get people to those spots because we don't have that many spaces. We have a lot of spaces, but we have more cars than spaces typically, and we will Thursday night.
Mark, just given this is another opportunity to highlight Arrowhead in Kansas City, what special things do you have in mind, or are you looking forward to the most as you guys try to do that?
Yeah, so our game production crew will light up GHA Field like they always do. So I think if you've never heard Gennaro Wilson sing the national anthem at our stadium, be in your seats for the national anthem. He's amazing, and he'll be there on Thursday night. I won't tease a lot of what's going on, but there'll be a lot of special things this game as we kick off the season. And with Amazon Prime, they're going to have a ton more. So you'll have things in the parking lot the fans can interact with. You'll see a lot more stages on set, on field, both pregame and halftime.
What about safety as far as tailgate? We hear the horror stories of people not putting out their grills, and the other day some cars like melted into the ground.
Yeah, that's happened here before too.
Right.
Someone just figures the grill is out and they slide it underneath the car. That's a bad idea. And if you saw the video from Miami, there's proof of that. Our fans are pretty well educated now. Our team does a good job of sweeping post kick, so we can sort of highlight some of that, identify some of that, and get rid of it. Everybody's learning something every single year, so it's definitely something we'll focus on. Our team, again, does a pretty good job of making sure that we're aware of what could go wrong, so we're looking for those sort of things.
You guys, not everyone who is in the parking lot getting people to park works for you, right? A lot of it's contracted.
Mm-hmm.
How have the employment numbers been for that? Because I know everyone's looking to hire people all the time. Are you guys fully staffed? Will you have enough people to get the job done?
Yeah, the last few years from a staffing perspective have been a challenge across all industries. We've had the good fortune of being really successful during that time, and that really helps us with our numbers. People want to be here. They want to be part of this team. We go through extensive training with these folks who really work for us one day a week. But as far as our fans are concerned, they're the Kansas City Chiefs. So we appreciate them. We've had really good numbers for all the events so far, including concerts this summer. The numbers look good right now as of our production meeting yesterday. There's always a little bit of a challenge with the night games. So we'll have a late arriving crowd, so we have to stage that. We plan for it. Folks are working full time and then they come here and work. And additionally, so they hit the same traffic, right? So they're going to come a little later, but we plan for that. So we know where to stage them and where we need to be.
Mark, home openers are always exciting, but this year in particular, how special is it to open prime time on Thursday night, especially being our 50th anniversary of our building?
Yeah, like I said before, it's a pride point for us as an organization. It's a pride point for us as a football team. It's a pride point for us from the business side. We take a lot of pride in what the stadium is and that experience for fans. It's a bucket list item internationally now. We know that. We get the feedback from people who have traveled. They have to experience Arrowhead Stadium and GHA Field. And so we're really excited about that. I think this is, again, it's a proof point of that Amazon chose us. They want to see that too. To see it Thursday night it's a great opportunity for this entire region. It's a great opportunity for our fans to be highlighted on national TV. So it's got us all excited.
Mark, just had to ask, but in light of there being a resolution to Reid's case yesterday, can you shed light on the process, so the organization's process of looking into the events that preceded the crash, the events here?
Yeah, the only comment I'll make on that, because it's still an ongoing proceeding, is in November, we were part of a team that put together a care plan for Ariel. And we really haven't been involved since then. The criminal investigation has all been separate, other than full cooperation with all the authorities.
Have you changed any protocols within your own facility, the organization, or anything?
No.
Mark, I know Chiefs fans are going to ask, you want them to get here early, but are you willing to give them a note to get out of work early?
We've done that in the past. That's usually Andy. We're going to have to check if Andy's going to write that letter again. There's not much more to say. We said it so many times. It's an opportunity for our fans to be on a national showcase. And we know they will, because they always show up and they'll be there. They impact the game. They definitely do. For those of you who were in Arizona, it was amazing, as it typically is. that national anthem seems to get louder and louder every single week. So we heard it in Arizona, and we'll hear it again Thursday night.
Mark, I'm sure there's redundancies in place with Amazon, but this is the first not available anywhere other than streaming for most of the country. Any trepidation as a league in stepping into the full streaming space where there's not another choice somewhere to watch a game?
Yeah, I have to compliment the team from Amazon. I mean, they have been in our building, in our meetings, on Zoom calls, every level of the organization. So they are really, really excited to do this. They're really aware of the challenges they're going to face. It's going to be a learning curve. I think, they've had some experience in this, but we're going to learn something Thursday night that'll make them better than the following week. We are locked and loaded with them. I don't think we've done as many pre-game production meetings as we have with these guys, but for the same reason, right? We want it to be as good as it can be too. So excited more than concerned.
Is there a timeline yet? Because I saw some consternation amongst folks on Sunday that Sunday ticket was down in a lot of places early. That contract is up for bid. Nothing's been resolved yet. You guys have a date where there's something to be resolved on who the provider is going to be next year?
I think that's a league question. Brian Rolep and his team there have been working on all the options there. Their track record's pretty good in putting together some really good deals for us.
Mark, I wonder, as you guys do the study about whether to keep the stadium the way it is, to renovate it, or to obviously look at a new site, if this night, or obviously what you guys will have with the World Cup, how much that will play a percentage, no matter how small it is, as to what Clark and you guys will do about the stadium's future?
It's a really good observation. I think it's very true that the iconic nature of this building is something you have to factor into those discussions and those decisions. We are in the middle of all that. We got a long way to go here, but that's definitely part of the discussion. That Lambeau is what it is, right? Arrowhead and GHA Field, they are what they are. And that's going to be part of the process, is what makes the most sense. The other side of that is what we've talked about. It's also a building that was actually constructed in 1970, opened in 72. So you have to factor that into it too. When we think about the next 50 years and making the right decision for our fans for the next 50 years, the structure itself is a big part of it too.
Do you feel like you could recreate some of these positive aspects of Arrowhead that you talked about? Can you recreate those in a new building, do you feel like?
That would be part of the plan. We would sure hope so. I think if you look at what we did with the renovation, 8, 9, and 10, we added a lot of new things to an older building. And one of our mantras that came from the Hunt family was, new body, same soul. So that would be part of any sort of discussion going forward. Because even if we end up with a renovation, we're going to have a lot of new elements to it, right? If you look at the competition around the NFL and around sports venues in general, we're going to have to compete with that. So Arrowhead's going to have to change a little bit, and that'll be part of it.
Is there a stadium or stadiums that you can point to in that regard that maybe you're?
Yeah, so I would take that a different direction, which is there isn't one. We're looking at LA, we're looking at Vegas, we're looking at Lambeau, we're looking at Pittsburgh, we're looking at New England, we're looking at Miami, we're looking at the buildings that are going up, and we're in discussions with Buffalo, we're in discussions with Nashville, we're in discussions with the teams that are a little bit ahead of us. We're talking to Chicago about what they're in a similar situation. So we think all that due diligence is really, really important. And I know I've said this before, but it is as authentic as I can say it. The people in that room know we have to get this right. And if you take that attitude, you're going to do as much due diligence as you can.
When we talked to Clark before the draft, I think, about this similar thing, it seemed like his preference and the team's preference was to be here at this place, whether it's new or not. Is that still where you guys are?
Yeah, I don't want to sort of put anything out there that's going to create more rumors. I would say that that's a fair statement, a fair observation. If you're a member of the Hunt family, right? I mean, you got to factor in, this is part of the discussion about factoring it all in, is their father built this, and it's been part of their legacy and his legacy. So that'll factor into it.